How would you explain to teenagers the importance of being aware of what's happening in the Congo today?
I mean, the truth is that for an average American, it's probably not going to make, what happens in Congo isn't going to make a huge difference in their lives. But what I would argue is that it's really important, I think, for young people to find some cause that they believe in, some cause larger than themselves to get engaged in. And it could be Congo, or it could be kids dropping out from a nearby school. But I think that it's a good anchor for one's own emotional fulfillment, and a good way of putting one's own difficulties in perspective. That if your parents are being unreasonable, as every teenager's parents in the history of the world have been, then it's useful to remember that there are other kids who are orphaned by AIDS by the million, who have enormous problems of predation by teachers or principals, and maybe that helps put issues in perspective to some degree. And also, just as I think that a connecting to some kind of a larger cause gives one a sense of purpose and fulfillment, that I think is just important to one's emotional stability and satisfaction. I don't think it's so much about writing checks. I think it's more about what one gets out of it oneself.
Okay. With the 21st century's materialism, which is certainly flourishing in the U.S. and growing even in third world countries, how do you think spirituality should fit in with our lives?
I think that just depends on the individual. I think, and there's some evidence that some individual that have a genetic predisposition for spirituality and find enormous comfort from some kind of a spiritual engagement, and other people don't. So I think I'd probably leave that to between people and their genes or and their brains. But I do think that when I talked about the importance of connecting to a cause larger than oneself, traditionally that was what people did with religion. That was that connection. And I do think that some people are now finding that connection through secular causes, such as human trafficking or girls' education, whatever it may be. But in a sense, those can also be spiritual causes.
How do your children cope with your travelings to so many dangerous and remote places?
The boys have been pretty blasé about the trips. My daughter was not happy with my traveling to Iraq and Afghanistan in particular. I've taken them on a bunch of trips, and I think that I think that has helped sort of them understand what I do, and has also given them a sense of the satisfaction that it does make a difference. But it's still hard, because there are real trade-offs. That if I'm worrying about Afghan kids 1 week in Kabul, then I'm not around to read to my daughter here, and that trade-off is very real. My daughter was complaining to me recently. I'd just taken her through through Central America, and we were. Our next trip is to Southern Africa as a family at the end of this month, and she was saying, Dad, my friends go to the Caribbean. Can't we ever just go to a beach? And, I don't know. That's not on the agenda.